Let's go One Piece, episode 2, halfway through. Halfway through episode 2. It did the whole little, like, One Piece halfway through episode 2. Really, like, I was talking about calling a script or things that are said and done really, like, cliche or whatever. It's really more of that. Let's see if I can remember. This one, it was interesting. The vibe of Roro no Rosoro, I think, I think that's the name. Roro no Rosoro. Zoro for short. There's an actual show called Zoro. I remember I think it was called The Legend of Zoro. And he had a sword. I don't know what he really looked like. I don't know. Maybe he had like a sword and some, the fedora hat, and ranch hat, and maybe a cape. I don't know. Anyway, Roro no Zoro, like the lore of him is supposed to be cool, and the story and this and the third. This one's just it's just very simple. Like this one, it's just very simple. Let me see what happens. Luffy and Kobe are on the boat, and they're headed to the Marine Island. Like, oh no, you don't want to this and the third. He's supposed to be some swordsman, bloodthirsty swordsman, whatever. He has this lore about him. Anyway, they get to the Marine Island. Luffy wants to like meet him, see him, whatever. And one thing is what I mentioned. One thing I wanted to mention was the fact that like the animation is very simple. But it's still like appreciated. It's like it's really like comic book type of joint. You can just tell it's like the panels and this and the third. But it's so simple on some the people in the background aren't moving. Or the people in the background aren't moving. If you know anything about animation, it's like you put the buildings there and then you can have like your people like Luffy and the boy walking, and then on top of that you would put like any of the other stuff. So like I can just like I know the setup of the animation. Like I'm just sitting here watching like, oh, this is how you do this like this scene in this style or whatever. It's very simple animation. Anyway, they get through the city and they're having this whole conversation. When they mention Roro no Zoro, everybody in the town nearby scatters. And then Captain Morgan, slow it down. I just dish you. You get capped and them organs come out. Oh, URL. The next time you watch that, that's gonna be your favorite line. Nah. Smack. All right. Slow it down. You get capped. Captain Morgan. Okay. That Captain Morgan come out. Anyway, that's conceited. Okay. Back to the show at hand. One Piece halfway through episode 2. So mention Roro no Zoro. Oh! They mentioned Captain Morgan. Oh! Now Captain Morgan is the oh. Oh. Okay, I just had to do that because I just anyway. Okay. Roro no Zoro is a prisoner at the Marine base. Captain Morgan is the captain or overseer of the Marine. And so they get to the Marine base, and then when they get to the Marine base, Kobe's like, he's not gonna be whatchamacallit. He's probably gonna be down deep down in some like dungeon layers and third. Luffy goes to the wall and he's like, he's right there. So uh, the Roronoa Zoro guy is like, you know, what's the you can win not Scarecrow. He's in a Scarecrow vibe, like he's just laying on the little thing, and just in the like it's like on the Marine base, it's like I guess like whatever little flat whatever, and the Roronoa Zoro guy is just on the thing. All right, that was like a 7. That was a 7. That was all right. Anyway, they get close and they're over the wall. They're looking over the wall, looking at him, and he's like, "Scram, your eyesores." And so that's one. And then, but they just continue watching him. When I say them, Luffy, Luffy and Kobe are watching. And then a ladder comes on the wall, and the little girl comes over and she jumps over the wall and she goes up to Zoro and offers him some rice balls. She's like, I made these rice balls. He's like, scram, kid, I don't want these. And so then, while she's trying to give him the rice balls, the this guy, I don't know his name, the captain's son, he walks in with 2 like Marine guys or whatever, and they come to check on Zoro. And he takes one of the rice balls and he's like, this is it's too sweet. He's like, you're supposed to use salt, not sugar. And she was like, da-da-da. She started, and then he throws her other one on the ground. He smashes it. She's like, they're not for you. They were for Zoro. Da-da-da, boom, boom. Anyway, he tells the Marine guy to throw her over the wall. And he's like, I'm sorry, kid. I got to do this. And so he's like, get into a ball. He throws the girl over the wall, and Luffy, you know, rubber band man. Luffy. I wonder how many episodes it's going to take until I get this right in this down pat. Luffy grabs her. He catches her. I'm like, okay. And Luffy grabs her. He catches her. And then basically, I'm trying to see what's the next little part that happened. I just started One Piece. You're still watching me, so fuck off my channel, bitch. That's how you handle a troll. I just started the first episode. We were talking about this for a little while. Anyway, before I get any other whatchamacallit. Anyway, so from there, I'm trying to think if something else really happened. They threw her over, and then he doesn't like the whatchamacallit. I don't like when people ask me silly questions. You know what? On the Barbie jersey, I got the meme of the black Barbie, and it says, ask me a dumb question if you want to. I don't know why. They're like, you should study the things that fascinate you and the things that repulse you. Ignorance repulses me. These neurodivergent retard people repulse me. Fuck, they keep watching me and want to talk to me for. Damn! Back to the show at hand. So, I'm trying to see if there's anything else. They threw her over. I'm trying to see if there's another little like instance or moment that happens. But outside of that, do they keep talking to him? Oh, Luffy, I got it right this time. Luffy goes over and he talks to Zoro. And Zoro's like, you still here? And then he's like, I'm not sure. Luffy don't really say much to him. He was like, I heard you're a bad guy. And so they just have like this little talk or whatever. And then Zoro asks for the rice ball. The guy had stumped the rice ball on the ground. And Zoro's like, give me the rice ball. He's like, you sure you want this? Like, it's kind of like muddy in his eye third. Just give it to me. And he eats it. So Zoro eats it or whatever. And he's like, thanks. This and that third. Then it goes to Luffy just kind of looks at him. He's like, well, he doesn't nod his head. It's just more of like, type of thing. And then Luffy leaves. He goes back with Kobe and the little girl, and then they're sitting in town, and the little girl's telling him like, Zoro's not a bad guy. The only reason he's in there is because he was protecting them or her or whatever. So the captain's son was walking around antagonizing people with his dog, and the dog was about to attack her, but Zoro like whatever he did with the dog, and then the captain's son was like, "Oh, you can't just stand there, boom, boom," and Zoro did whatever to like disarm them and whatever, and then so basically it was like it wasn't like too in depth or anything. It was just like this kind of sort of like weird whole little whatever. Basically, the captain's son was like, all right, instead of making the little girl and her mom, it's always be executed or whatever. We'll put you in the Marine holding cell, whatever, for 30 days. And so, yeah, that was that. Because I think Luffy looked at him and was like, yeah, I can't do this if I was you. He was like, I'm going to last these 30 days. It's been 3 weeks. So he's been there for 3 weeks and he just has to survive like just a little bit longer. And he only has to survive like one more week. And so while he's in there, what else? So that's why he's in there. And then I'm trying to think what's this next part that happens. So because when Luffy saw that he didn't like the guy, that was one. I'm trying to if I just gotta remember this next little part. So that's why Zoro's in there. And then I'm not sure what I'm trying to figure out what happens that makes I forget the exact part. That one was like a 5. That was like a 4. That was weak. Something happens. I'm trying to let's see if I can remember this. I don't want to jump the. Basically, Luffy punches the captain's son. That's basically what happened. Luffy punches the captain's son, and he was like, "You know who I am?" And then he goes back to tell his dad, Captain Morgan. They show Captain Morgan like just puffing a cigar or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, the people's taxes aren't, you know, whatever." Basically, he don't feel like he get enough money from the people and the taxes. And he's like, yeah, sir, I don't know, whatever's going on with the economy, whatever. He's like, we need more. They respect me, respect my authority, or something like that. It's some of that effect along those lines. But then the captain's son comes in and was like, Dad, I need you to go execute this guy like right now, type of thing. I'm trying to remember what exactly is the interaction between Luffy and the captain's son that makes Luffy punch him. I don't know why. I'm trying to remember. It's some. What happens? Trying to remember. I just watched this. What happened, bro? Luffy leaves there. They're talking about the whole thing. And then I'm trying to remember, like, what's the break part? Because something happened. I don't know what the Marine son did, but the Marine son be walking around with like with like 2 other Marines, and he just be antagonizing people. Okay, hold on. The Marine son walked in. A guy walks into a bar. Nah, but he walked in. And he was like, "Give me something. Give me whatever." I forget how his order and his request. Like, "Give me whatever and keep the check for yourself." Like he said something along those whatever. He drinks something, and then I'm not sure what he says or does to Luffy. Let me see if I can just check it real quick. Okay. Yes. Okay, so this is what I was trying to figure out what it was the part or the moment. So I was getting there. It was close. So The Marine, Captain Morgan's son. Captain Morgan's son walks in. He was like, yeah, give me whatever, and this, and the third. And I'm bored out of my mind here, right? So then he says, uh, he walks in, he makes the order, he's like, keep the check for yourself. I'm bored out of my mind here, I'm trying to figure out what I should do. And he was like, you know what? Maybe I should just execute Zoro today. But Luffy hears this. So that's what makes Luffy go punch the Captain Morgan's son there. I was like, yo, what happened? But it was something small, and that's all it was. So, yes, the Captain Morgan's son goes in, he makes his little order, this request or whatever, and he's like, I'm bored. I'm trying to stop what I should do. I stop the boredom on my mind. And then he says, maybe I should execute Zoro today. But Luffy hears that, and then Luffy punches him in the face. And then he's like, you know who my dad is? And this and third. And then he goes to talk to his dad, and he says the whole thing about, I need you to go execute this guy like right now, today. So that's what happens. He says that he was going to go execute Zoro, but that makes Luffy hears this. Luffy is then like, yo, what did Luffy say? Luffy was like, I'm going to have Zoro join my crew. Luffy makes that decree. I'm going to have Zoro, I've decided. I'm going to have Zoro join my crew. So that's the first half. That's the first half of episode 2. First half of episode 2. We'll see about the next half. I'm trying to think, bro. Cause I'm actually kind of yawning, and I'm not really pressed to even keep trying. I'm trying to figure out if I should, but do I just leave it here? Or do I just call it episode 2? Finish it, or just I don't know here. Should I finish episode 2 now or later? Am I ready to throw in the towel? Bro, right here, itching, bro. Yikes. It's Sunday. I got, I'm gonna have to